everyone. We're going to identify the domain, vertical, horizontal, and oblique asymptotes, roots, which is your x-intercepts, your y-intercepts, and any holes. If none exist, we're going to write NA. So I went ahead and took the liberty of factoring this. Anytime you see something that you can factor, go ahead and factor it, and we'll use both equations. First of all, if we look at our domain, we're going to look at the second one and set this, we want it to be all real numbers, but we can't divide by 0. So if you take each piece of this and set it to 0, you're going to get your domain is all real numbers, but x cannot be negative 3/4, and x cannot be negative 2. So you plug those numbers in, you'll be dividing by 0, and you can't do that. So that means our vertical asymptotes are just that. That generates the vertical asymptotes at x equals negative 3/4 and x equals negative 2. All right. The horizontal asymptote depends on our degree. So I'm going to look at the first one now, this one right here, and look at my degree. The degree is x squared over x squared. My lead coefficients are 5/4. So when you divide this out, like if you're taking a limit of this, the x squares cross out. So you do have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 5/4. That's what you do when the degrees are the same. You just divide these lead coefficients. All right, since we have a horizontal, that means we don't have a vertical. An oblique. Our roots are just, basically, our roots is when you set your numerator to 0. So that would be where y is 0. And if you do that, when y is 0, you get 3/5. Because you set this to 0 and solve for x. When you set this piece to 0, you're going to get negative 2, 0. So we have two x-intercepts. The y-intercept is when you divide, when you plug in 0. So when I plug in 0 here to everything, basically all this goes away because that's 0, and you just get negative 6 over positive 6, which is negative 1. So when x is 0, y is negative 1. Now in this problem we do have a hole because we can cross these out. So our hole is at negative 2. And when we plug negative 2 into our reduced equation, we get 5 times negative 2 minus 3/4 times negative 2 plus 3. So the numerator is going to be, let's see, negative 10 minus 3 is negative 13, and negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. So that's going to be 13/5. And I hope I did that right. So negative 2, 13/5. Now what I look at is I have a hole at x equals negative 2 here. That means instead of a vertical asymptote at negative 2, I'm going to erase this because you can't have both a hole and a vertical asymptote. So I can split those two up. All right, that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.